She is reported, as you all know, to give speeches before Wall Street for $225,000 a speech. Now, if you give a speech for $225,000, must be a pretty damn good speech.
Huge crowds over the weekend for Bernie Sanders. He was firing them up with another zinger at Hillary Clinton in Brooklyn. His attacks on the Democratic frontrunner growing more aggressive as we head into the primary, which is tomorrow here in New York. A rally last night in his hometown in Brooklyn proved to be no exception. Look at the numbers that are turning out and the enthusiasm for Bernie Sanders among people who are in the streets watching his every word. That was last night, 28,000, as we said, the biggest crowd they have seen yet. Congressman Steve Israel, a Democrat from New York, has endorsed Hillary Clinton. Congressman, welcome. Good to have you here today.
Thank you, Martha.
He has become much more acerbic, much more cutting in his criticism of Hillary Clinton over the past week. We saw them yelling at each other last time they had their 9th debate last weekend. And some, including the New York Post, Fred Dicker writing, accusing you and others of not being strong enough in her defense.
Well, first of all, it's unfortunate that Bernie Sanders, who promised to be a candidate of ideas and aspirations, is now a candidate of insinuation. That's just unfortunate. When given the opportunity several times to come up with one example of where Hillary Clinton may have changed a view because of a speech, Bernie Sanders has refused to do it. And by the way, if I were him, I'd spend more time trying to figure out a very haphazard and dangerous policy on Israel than continuing to throw these punches. And with respect to Fred's column, just wrong. Yesterday, I was at an event for Hillary Clinton. All day Monday on Long Island, I was with Hillary Clinton at events. That's just kind of New York politics. It's just kind of leaks and
what's
silly
your
stuff.
read here? You've got thousands of people turning out for Bernie Sanders. You have Democrats and Republicans saying, you know, at least he sticks to his guns, he's authentic, he's real. You're never going to get those kind of numbers turning out for other candidates, not for Hillary Clinton or anybody else out there right now. I mean, what is your read of he's tapping into something in your party that's real?
I'm a big believer in the political theory. In any campaign, would I rather be me or them? So, in this campaign, would you rather be Bernie Sanders, who had 28,000 people at a rally, or would you rather be Hillary Clinton, who has a 2 million vote lead in the popular vote against Bernie Sanders, and a lead of 700 delegates over Bernie Sanders?
I get what you're saying, but here's the issue. Because this is such a slugfest between the two of them, and the things that he's sticking on her will hurt her in the general election. That's the concern of her supporters. You know, you've now got Donald Trump calling her crooked Hillary. You've got him talking about Sanders talking about how much she makes on all these speeches. She still won't release the text and transcripts of these speeches. Everybody, you know, scratches their head and goes, well, why? What's in him? That's such a problem. That's not going to go away. He's made it tougher for her.
Well, the same is true on the Republican side. Look, primaries always generate that kind of stuff. You know, that's no surprise to anybody. Donald Trump talks about lying Ted. You know, that's just what happens in a primary. What counts at the end of the day is your record. And New Yorkers who have a primary tomorrow know that when Hillary Clinton was a senator for 8 years, she had their backs. When we needed funds from the Bush administration to rebuild Ground Zero, she did it. When we needed to make sure that 9/11 recovery and rescue workers got the medical treatment that they needed and deserved, she did it. When it came time to stand up for veterans, she did it. So through all the hyperbole and the rhetoric and the screaming and the shouting, at the end of the day, I still believe it's the record that counts.
All right. Steve Israel, thank you, Congressman.
Thanks, Martha.
Good to see you, as always. Thanks
you.
for coming into the studio.